I cannot believe it either. We are just about to close out our time here at CloudWorld 2024, and to do so, we are here with Doug Kehring, Oracle Executive Vice President and Head of Operations. Doug, it is so nice to have you back behind the desk with us.
I love to be a closer. It's always been what I've been good at.
We call it the frosting on the cake.
Exactly,
That's right.
The cherry on top, if you will.
For a great conference.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
this has been an exceptional week. So much has happened, but let's recap some of the biggest moments from CloudWorld 2024 so far. One of the biggest themes being multi-cloud in our partnership announcements. We just announced our partnership with AWS on Monday, and we had Microsoft here, we had Google here. So with these announcements and several of the new partnerships, what impact do you see this having on the Oracle community as a whole?
Well, I don't think anyone would have thought that Oracle could pull together the three largest other hyperscalers all in the same venue,
right?
At all. We are at the hub of everything that's going on. So from a multi-cloud perspective, no one else is doing what we're doing. And the great thing about this, when we talk to customers, it's all about choice. They love the idea that if I want to work in the Oracle environment, great. But if I want to take those Oracle workloads and work with the cloud of my choice, I can do it. So, I think that's really what's resonating with customers, is this idea of flexibility and choice.
We had Bob Evans on, who heads up Cloud Wars, and he was like, that is like what I do. And now Larry's making it so there are no wars. All of you are getting along. He's like, what am I going to do?
We call it the Love Fest.
There you go. You go.
And you talk about some of the customer benefits. We heard State Street on stage with Larry, practically clapping in his seat. We had a few others here the same. How are customers already benefiting from these partnerships?
Well, again, I think it's because a lot of customers, are already in place with some of these other hyperscalers. So, they, in many instances, they've made large bets, and one of that large contract, large commitments to those other clouds. And unfortunately, over the past, they've tried to take the Oracle workload and tried to make it work there. And the reality is, the other vendors just don't understand how to run our workloads as well as we do.
Right.
So we thought, rather than forcing them to have to come off of what they're already using, why don't we bring what we have from a value perspective right to their back door, and bring our hardware and bring our capabilities and our support, and now put it there and work together with the other three vendors. And I think that's what's really driving the excitement with these customers.
For sure.
That's what we like to call our Oracle Advantage. And speaking of our Oracle Advantage, one of the other main themes here this week has been AI. What is the Oracle AI Advantage?
The Oracle AI Advantage is the fact that rather than forcing customers to have to go out and buy something new, we bring the AI into everything we already offer. We're embedding the AI capabilities into every part of our stack from a portfolio perspective, so that regardless of the technology choice you've made with Oracle, we're going to have AI advantages built in so that you can take advantage of them organically.
Absolutely.
Well, there are some other Oracle advantages that we've heard this week here at CloudWorld, and like in Mike Cecilia's keynote about how the AI technology and all of our technology touches so many different industries, goes across industries. We've heard customers talk about how some of the things that we're doing is letting technology get out of their way so that they can focus on the things they want to do, on innovation. What about you, Kendall?
What about me?
I'm putting you on the spot. What other things that we want to feed to Doug?
Security. Security was one of the top things that we talked about this week, right, across the board, in terms of how Oracle's providing top-notch security. Talking to the CIA, Safra, sitting down with the CIA on Tuesday morning and hearing our first customer, 40-year plus relationship, right, and how we continue to improve upon that, and that's been such a major theme.
Now to bring you back into it, any others that we've missed out on?
Well, I think where we're really heading now, as we've created these innovations, is the realization that it's not about our customers buying single solutions, like buying just financials or just HCM or just the database. But what they're asking for is, put yourselves in our shoes and start asking, how do I create more value for my company and have it powered by the automation of Oracle? So we're kind of flipping the script, if you will. Rather than selling you the technology, we're starting with understanding your business needs and figuring out, where do you want to go? How do you want to transform? And now let's take all these technologies and put them together in unique and interesting ways, from the horizontal application to the vertical applications to all of the infrastructure to the database, to the analytics, et cetera. Bring that to me And then let's deploy that, because when you take end-to-end business processes, you can do amazing things,
right,
like Oracle has done and become the fastest company from a closing and announcing financials as a public company. You don't do that by just putting in one application. You do that by looking across your entire portfolio of things you're doing.
Yeah, I just had Do on here out of the UAE, and they're putting all their workloads on Alloy, but they are also an ERP, HCM, supply chain customer, and they talked about bringing that all together, and for the reasons that you just stated. What about just coming back to AI? Do you have some favorite customer examples of how they're getting advantage out of the Oracle AI?
Yeah, well, from an AI perspective, we're still early in the cycle, if you will. We're doing a lot of the training and inferencing on these tools. They have simple examples that everyone knows about in terms of writing a term paper, whatever. We're trying to do the complex things, the really hard stuff. And a good example is when you think about financial planning and analysis through Oracle EPM. The idea that in many companies, and I've had a lot of conversations today with customers about that, where they go, it's really expensive to help provide the reports my business units need. Why is that the case? Because every one of them wants a different report with a different output. And all of that today, or historically, has been extremely costly because all of it's labor-based. They go in, they try to figure out what you want, they write their report, and then the next time you want it differently, you have to redo it. AI changes that dramatically, because ultimately through natural language processing, you explain to the system what you're looking for, what information you want to see. It goes behind, does all the compute, takes your corporate data, loads it up, and gives you the output you want without any human intervention. Those are the type of examples that really are going to transform companies.
Yeah.
I can tell you're passionate about that one, but is there anything else that you are most excited about when it comes to AI and the impact it will have, specifically Oracle AI? For example, like you said, it's not just about writing term papers or whatever else. What about in health, for example?
Well, as we all know, health is of great importance to Larry Ellison himself,
right.
And I've been a part of the conversations. And the way I try to break it down is the simple things. You go into the doctor's office and you have some symptoms. You're not sure what your problem is. And God forbid that the doctor that you met at medical school got drunk the night before and didn't show up for the class that talked about the exact symptoms you have.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You may not get the fix you need. The great thing about automation is it never stays out late, it never gets drunk, it never turns off, it's always there.
It's never hungover.
So the beauty is we can marry these things where we can assist the physician. It's not autonomous like we're doing with the database, but it's augmented. So in that case, it's going through the historical treasure trove of data about symptoms and procedures and how to fix things, and then based upon listening into the conversation with a physician and patient, can then help the physician understand how to diagnose and potential treatment options. The physician still has to take the action, but all of a sudden you've changed the dynamics of how healthcare works. That's a good example in health of how we're revolutionizing patient care.
I think it's what Steve said, blurring the lines between human and technology,
That's right?
And we're making it work together so we're more productive and better overall.
Now, Mike talked up there about industry suites. Why is this so critical?
Well, industry suites are critical because I gave you the health example, but you can look across every industry that's out there. When we sit down with customers and they talk about what they're facing as an organization, they need to transform. And when they think about transformation, it's not about transforming individual lines of business like finance or HR, but they're actually thinking about how do I transform my operations? And invariably it has to do with the industry they're in, whether that's construction and engineering. So you're thinking about, okay, what do I need to do in order to plan for a new building? How do I have to operate the new building? How do I have to pay my subcontractors? How do I get staffing for inside the building for maintenance, et cetera? So none of this stuff is in isolation. So what we're trying to do is when we think about industry suites, it's taken the power of everything Oracle has as an enterprise technology vendor, bring it all together in new and unique ways that really no one else can provide, and then help partner with our customers to implement those solutions so that they themselves can help revolutionize their own industries.
Yeah, and I think solutions is a good word, and we keep hearing this come up because we often think of, I think Steve was up there talking about how we don't want people having to think about Salesforce automation, supply chain management, and so forth. It's about the customer, it's about the order, it's about the delivery, right? And so it kind of changes the perspective when you come into the industries. In health, it's the patient. In construction, it's the project, right? And so get the technology.
I talk about it as experiences.
Yeah.
So, what's the customer experience? What's the employee experience? What's the patient experience? What's the constituent experience? When you think about it that way, then all of a sudden these things kind of fit together in new ways, as opposed to, as you said, individual activities.
Right. So Mike also talked about industry playbooks. Can you talk about the importance or the value that we as Oracle can bring with a playbook for these industries?
Well, of course, it started with the Oracle playbook, and invariably what we find when we talk to customers is that they look at it and say, wow, you guys at Oracle run an amazingly efficient operation, and now you're so customer obsessed in what you do. You have all of these things going on. I want to know how to do it like you do it. And
right.
How do I report my financials faster? How do I create a customer obsession organization? Things like that. And so what we've done is try to bring it together. So we bring together the business processes that came around it. We bring the culture change that comes with different things that you're trying to attack, and then the automation that has to go with it. We marry that all together and we explain it from a practitioner standpoint. So we don't just bring our IT folks, but we bring our line of business folks that have actually put this together and implemented, and we go sit down with customers and explain, this is how we did it. This is our best practices. These are our lessons learned. And the light bulbs turn on in the customer, and then we add to that the idea is, okay, now that you see where we're going, now we bring customer success services in, where then they sit and take the customer along the journey to help them then take these playbooks and actually localize it to their situation, their industry, their activities.
Right.
So I'm so glad that you hit on customer success services. We had Gary Miller and Damian Carey come behind the desk with us, I guess yesterday, was it? And they talked about the Cloud Success Navigator, which is helping our customers achieve their goals, again, putting the customers at the heart of everything we do. Can you define Oracle's total customer commitment? That's a big part of this and why we're doing the Cloud Success Navigator. How would you define our total customer commitment?
So the way I would describe a customer success services is around the idea that traditionally we've had a great job selling you the best technology in the world, right?
Right.
And we've had the best engineers to develop those technologies, but we haven't always been there to make sure that customers get value from the technologies in all situations. So we built customer success services as sort of the third leg of our stool, with the idea that once you make a purchasing decision with Oracle, we'll be with you throughout your journey to make sure that you get the value you expect from it. And it's obviously good for customers to have that, but it's also good for us because we want them to be happy customers. We want them to tell everybody, all their friends about it, and that creates more business for us. So it all works in tandem together.
And we're taking this commitment beyond just what we're seeing here at CloudWorld Vegas. We're taking it on the road this year, right? Can you tell us a little bit about CloudWorld Tours and what's new this year?
Well, I think the reality is that not everyone can be at CloudWorld in Las Vegas.
Right.
So for lots of different reasons. So what we wanted to do was say, let's bring what we have to your local country or your local area. And obviously last year we had a bunch of local CloudWorlds, and now we'll have even more this year. And they're some of the best attended items that we put on as a company, and it allows us to really then bring the right set of people right to your backyard and help you learn more about how to use Oracle and get success from it.
And I know you'll hit the stage at some of those CloudWorld tours. We've added some new cities. Are you looking forward to any favorites in particular? Well,
there's a lot of new cities. I like all the Europe ones that we're expanding into across Germany, continental Europe. I mean, there's a bunch of new areas there. We've added Australia into the mix, which is always good to get down under. So, the reality is, as we continue to find success from bringing it at a local level, we'll just keep expanding to more cities that are interested.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and some in America too.
And South America, obviously.
Exactly.
Across the world, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly.
So what are you, just to wrap it up, what are you most excited about over the next 6 to 12 months?
it really is a palpable sense of excitement, at CloudWorld that is eons bigger than it was last year. And I think the reality is that momentum has really kicked in with us. I think customers have realized that Oracle is now the worst kept secret in the cloud, and they're all getting it. They see the unique value that we're bringing. We're now starting to really get the recognition that comes with it, and it's opening doors, but not from a standpoint of, gee, I'm forced to use Oracle. But the reality is they're seeing how they can expand with Oracle in ways that complement what they're already doing in their environment. So I think there's only great things to go from here.
Yeah, we heard it here all day.
Exactly.
I'm sure, yeah.
We're meeting our customers' needs, giving them more choices, and it's all very exciting. Everybody is very, very happy here at CloudWorld.
I think it's all around a big change in culture. The customer obsession that now invades everything we do. Where whether you're an engineer, you're a support person, you're a back office helper, whoever it is, I think everyone's lined up to realize, let's take what we've got and let's help our customers succeed. Let's let them shine in their moment.
For sure.
Well, I can't wait to keep doing that at all the events to come following CloudWorld Las Vegas. And Doug, we so appreciate you joining us here today to kind of put a big red bow on top, a big Oracle red bow on top of CloudWorld 2024. Thank you.
I should have worn your jacket. Then it would have really looked like.
Do you want to trade?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Doug.